Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Carrie's Gardening Channel. So today is March 20th, 2023, and I was recently asked a question from someone who's new to starting seeds, and they said that they were wondering what types of containers or trays that they could start their seeds off in, because they weren't quite sure. So in this video here, I'm going to be talking about a few different types of trays that I use to start some of my seedlings in, and depending on the crop and how much room and space you have will kind of depend on what type of containers you actually use. So this one here is a 72 cell planting tray here, and I'll have links down in the description for different types of trays that I use. And like this one here is a homemade tray. I'll have a link down in the description for the video for how we make this planting flat here. But this one here is a 72 cell tray, and this one here is good for like just getting your seeds started off. You will have to most likely transplant them depending on when your last frost date is and when you start your seeds. Like these here are pansies here. I typically start my pansies in December. Now these here were started later, and then I transplant my seedlings off when the roots are coming out the bottom. Like this one here is completely ready to be transplanted here. You can see the roots are coming out the bottom, and they'll have really nice healthy root systems on them. Let's see if I can get one out here. There you go. You can see the beautiful root system on that. So these here are all ready to be transplanted here, and I start them off in the 72 cells. So these right here will be transplanted into hanging baskets, then planters, larger 9-packs like that over there. So that's one of the trays that you can use. Another type of tray that you can use is a 4-pack here. Now these here have English daisies, and you can see these here, the roots are coming out the bottom, and these are ready to be transplanted into larger 4-packs or like the 9-packs or something like that. So typically, like depending on the crop, I like to start like celosia off in these right here and get it transplanted into like the beds or the larger containers. These here are perennials, so I like to have, you know, more established plants to go out. So I chose the cell packs here and then transplant them into like the 4-inch containers. This here is a crop of lavender here. Let me see, I have more back there. This is a homemade tray. We use the daisy trays and a landscaper's fabric. I'll put a link down for the video for how we make these trays here. And then we'll separate these out into like 4-inch containers, or I might just let them grow in here, and then when the danger of frost is past, transplant them out outside. A lot of flower farmers, from what I have seen, use flats, and then they just separate their seedlings out and they plant them out. Some of them will actually transplant them into like cells or like 9-packs or something like that. It all depends on your growing space and how long you have to hold your stuff for when you start it. These here are larger 4-packs here, and I have marigolds growing in these here. And back there are the larger 9-cell trays, and I have marigolds growing in there. So this one here is a 6-cell tray, and I have like Brussels sprouts growing. And it also depends on how much time you have to transplant your stuff. If you're really busy and you don't have too much time to be able to, you know, keep transplanting your stuff up to larger containers, then a tray like this would work nicely. One of these would work. And like I said, it kind of also depends on the crop. Marigolds, from what I had seen, didn't do too well in here. I couldn't get to them fast enough to get them transplanted. So I found that these trays over here, these 4-packs, for me, work much better. You can see here, these 4-packs here. Now, you do have deeper like 6-packs, and typically that's what you buy your pansies in. I have seen pansies available for sale in these types of packs here. So, you know, it kind of depends on, like I said, how much space you have for growing, how much time you have to transplant your stuff up, and how much seed starting mix as well. Because this, you know, I use seed starting mix in these. You want to have a nice, good seed starting mix. My yarrow back here, this white on here is diatomaceous earth. We were having issues with some ants. We wanted to get rid of them, so we're using diatomaceous earth. I did a bunch of yarrow in these cell packs back here. This is a 72 cell flat back here, and my yarrow is now ready to be transplanted into larger containers, which for that I will use regular potting mix. My peppers back here are in between 4 and smaller 6 cells, so they will actually be transplanted into 4-inch containers when the roots start coming out the bottom of those. And you know, we'll grow them on in the 4-inch containers. And like I said, you know, I will use a potting mix for that when I transplant them up. These here are bunny tails here. This is a larger 4-cell tray. And they have, I believe it's 3, I think some of them might have 4 bunny tails in these per cell. And what we'll do is we will divide these out when we transplant them. Now over here we have our cold season crops. These here are in larger 4-packs and some 6-packs, 9-packs. And these will be transplanted into larger 4-inch containers because these are actually ready to be transplanted now. So you can see over here, and this crop here is a status, and I've gumphrenas over here. So this one here, I can hold these until my danger of frost pass and then just transplant them outside in these here types of trays here. We have our onions, we do those in flats, and we find that that's easier. Onions can have a lower germination rate, so we like to do flats of onions and then just, you know, separate them when we're ready to plant them out. Pros and cons of separating your stuff out of flats. Sometimes you can, you know, you will damage some of the roots on them when you take them out, but you know, this right here, you just take your plugs, is what we're going to call them, because that's what they call them. You're going to take your plugs out and you just put them in the soil. These here, you actually have to separate everything apart. So that's another thing there that you have to take into consideration for what you're going to start your stuff in. So like these here, you know, when these were smaller, I could have chose to prick them out, which is when you take each individual seedling out and you put it into a different container like we did over here. This here is a lavender here, and then there's another one back there. They came up earlier than the rest of them did, so we pricked those out, put them in their own little individual containers, and they're already growing here. This right here will be faster to transplant than trying to separate everything apart, but as you can see here, we're running out of space. So they're most likely going to be staying in those flats unless I can figure out how to get more space. I know there's some stuff that needs cleaned up and moved, but you know, that's some different ways that you can do your seeds for seed starting. Now, I typically will not take a 4-inch container and start seeds in it. That's something that I typically would not do. Like this container here, these bunny tails were pricked out of a flat and they were transplanted into this. I typically would not start any seeds off in a container this large. And the reason why I won't do that is because, for one thing, that's going to take a lot of seed starting mix, which can get expensive after a while. And another thing is I don't want a container that's too large. I would go with something like this, or flat. I love these trays here. I use them a lot, as you've seen. 4-packs here, 6-packs, 9-packs, something like that. For zinnias, typically you would want like a larger tray, like one of these back here, for starting your seeds in. But again, that's your choice on that. And some things do not like to be transplanted. So, like your little Jiffy Peat pellets, they work nice. I've used those already. I don't really use those too much anymore since I got the greenhouse and I grow my stuff in the greenhouses. They tended to dry out too fast on my heated floor. So that's kind of something I got away from. But you can also use like biodegradable containers, and you can plant your stuff in there, and then you know, you just plant the thing out in the garden. My best friend, she uses the biodegradable containers. So there are different options out there that you can use for starting your seeds. This here is a recycled container here. So that's another thing, you know, that you can use. You just want to make sure that you put holes in the bottom of it. I'm big on recycling. I'll take food trays, put holes in the bottom of them, put my seed starter mix in, plant my seeds in there, and you know, I'm good to go with that. So if you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the little notification button. That'll tell you as I put a new video on. Also follow me on Twitter. I'll have a link down in the description for my Twitter account. Thank yous for watching, and have a nice day. Bye!